Salvador is a successful but workaholic architect. He lives his life based on a plan to be successful in all he does. He wakes up at 5 in the morning to work out before setting out for the day's business. On this particular day, he is interviewed on TV, and they talk about all his recent achievements. He also talks about his daily routine, which makes the interviewer notice he does not have time for a woman in his life. She then asks about relationships, and Salvador explains that he has yet to find a woman who will put up with his schedule. Salvador is also the heir to a multi-million-dollar corporation that is about to embark on a project for a new luxury hotel. The interviewer asks if Salvador knows about the project, and his response shows that he wants to be the only person to handle it. After the interview, Salvador presents his proposal about the new hotel to be built to the board, and they love his plans. This also means he will have to travel to Spain so that the project can kick off. His dad congratulates him, and he appreciates his father for trusting him. However, one can conclude that his response reveals that the trust he has in him is based on the condition that he has to prove himself. Salvador prepares his bag and travels to Spain. He gets to the apartment he had arranged earlier for himself and takes the key under the stairs, as instructed on his phone. Getting to the door, he tries to open it but is having a hard time. He enters the house with force and goes to the window for sightseeing. Later, he starts recording his view to send to his dad to let him know he is already there and that the location is perfect for what they want to build. After this, he steps out into the street to learn more about the place. He also meets up with his business partners as he is ready to start things fast and get things done quickly. Once done, he heads back to the apartment, but while trying to open the door, his key breaks. Seeing that he cannot access his apartment without the key, he decides to go to the nearby hotel where the owner of the apartment resides. Arriving there, he sees people singing and dancing. However, a particular lady catches his attention while he is observing. Could this workaholic be feeling emotions after all? Quite strange. He meets the owner of the apartment who mistakes him for her Tinder date. Oh well, some are actively searching for love. Salvador politely tells her that he is not her Tinder date, but asks about the lady who piqued his interest. The woman gives him the go-ahead to speak with her since she is her niece. However, she makes sure to tell him to be careful. She gives him a candle to light the paper on her waist, as a way of starting a conversation between the two. Salvador follows the instructions and joins the dance so that he can have a chance to talk to her. He lights the paper while they start discussing. When the dance is over and there seems to be a break in their discussion, Ariana, the lady Salvador is interested in, is instructed to pick up some paint. Salvador still follows her so that he can speak with her. Ariana picks up the paint but collides with Salvador as she turns around. This collision splashes paint on Salvador's suit and her face. She apologizes, but stops when Salvador mentions the price of his suit. Quite typical. But he also apologizes for the collision. Salvador tries to engage her in a discussion and also compliments her, but she ends up lecturing him. Lichi, the owner of the hotel and the apartment, interrupts them when he explains that he stays next door. Salvador uses the opportunity to tell them about his broken key. She apologizes and tells him she cannot offer him her time, but she hands him over to Ariana, believing she will take care of him properly as she leaves. Ariana then collects Salvador's stained coat to help him wash it while they head to where she will sleep. Salvador, however, is about to stress her as he is more concerned about where he will sleep. While they are going, they talk about music as well as flirting with one another, but Ariana keeps telling Salvador to relax. Finally, they get to the new apartment for Salvador, and as Ariana wants to say goodbye, he asks when she will be free so that they can have a drink together. Could this workaholic be asking her out? Anyways, this makes her stay, and they start drinking. She tells him about the tradition of welcoming newcomers with 3 shots, and they decide to give it a try. They flirt with one another, and when they are at the last shot, Salvador tries to kiss Ariana. But it doesn't go as expected because she tells him she does not kiss on the first date. To clarify the situation, he tells her that they are not on a date. This makes Ariana go for that kiss. They end up having a passionate time together that night. Salvador wakes up late the next day and takes his bath while listening to the news before heading out. Everything seems to be bright for Ariana, as she enjoyed herself the previous night. Salvador meets her and Lichi, giggling with one another because they heard the sound of their intimate session last night. Ariana gets their clothes for laundry. Salvador follows her because he wants to find a way to fix the door, which happens to be on the same route to the laundry. When they are done and are back at Salvador's apartment, they start talking. Salvador shares what he is in Spain for. He expects this big project of his to get her excited, but instead, she takes it as a serious offense. She cannot imagine that the place their community built with their hands will be replaced by concrete buildings. This seems surprising to Salvador, as he feels it is a normal thing. Ariana then leaves him angrily, but not without telling him he cannot put a price tag on people after he says that everyone has a price and that they will be willing to sell the buildings. Ariana goes to Lychee angrily. Lychee, on the other hand, is there expecting that she will get all the gist about her time with Salvador, but Ariana does not want to talk about it as she is very upset with Salvador. She complains to Lychee about the issue, and seeing where the problem is going, Lychee switches on the blender to interrupt her. She continues with this several times until Arena leaves her alone. This reveals that she knows about the hotel plan and does not want to listen to Ariana complain about it. Salvador is back to work, calculating the projected income based on the tourism of their current location, while also engaging in meetings. After he is done with his meeting, he goes to Lychee to talk about the plan of the proposed hotel using the blueprint. Ariana walks into them and sees what they are doing. She expresses her displeasure and walks away. Frustrated, she makes sure to tell them they make a good couple before leaving. They do not mind all she is saying as they continue with their discussion. The next day, Ariana steps out of her room late, as she is still angry at both Salvador and Lychee. Salvador is amused at the scene between Lychee and Ariana. Later at night, some of Salvador's workers are trying to set up some things for the construction. While digging, they find a box and hand it over to Salvador. He opens it and sees the contents of the box. The next scene shows him in Ariana's room with the purpose of giving her the box, as it belongs to her. She is excited about the box, as she has forgotten she once had it, but she does not show her excitement for Salvador to see it. When he is done delivering the box to her, she walks him out of her room. She then goes back and enjoys the memories in the box when he has left. The next day, while Ariana is picking eggs from the chicken coop,